Hi, folks. Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, the ChrisVossShow.com. Hey, we're coming here with another great podcast. We certainly appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for being here. Be sure to go to YouTube.com/Chris Voss. Hit the bell notification button. Go to Goodreads.com/Chris Voss. All of our groups on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and all those wonderful places where you can find out so much more about everything that is going on. Today, we have an amazing author on the show. It's his first book that he's put out. It's coming out August 3rd, 2021. You can take and pre-order this baby so you can be the first one on your block to see or read it. Kind of thumb your nose to the old book club there and be like, I read it first. And beat it to the movies too as well. There you go. Go Where There Is No Path. Stories of hustle, grit, scholarship, and faith. The book is from the author Christopher Gray. He'll be joining with us today to talk about this amazing book. He is the CEO and founder of the mobile app and website Scully or Schooly?
Scally.
A tool that helps prospective college students find scholarships. Gray is a regular contributor to Forbes.com, a member of the American Program Bureau, and is designated U.S. Embassy Speaker.
You're right.
There's going to be some edits on this baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is a regular contributor to Forbes.com, a member of the American Program Bureau, and is a designated U.S. Embassy Speaker for the U.S. State Department. He has spoken at events such as Obama Foundation's My Brother's Keeper Summit, Steve Harvey's Disney Dreamers Academy, and others. Welcome to the show, Christopher. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
It's wonderful to have you on. And
Right.
my apologies, but if you see the way it is on the PR thing, it's butchered into different
Yeah,
things. And then it does say he's an embassy speaker or the U.S. State Department. So that was throwing me a curveball.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And I guess we got your plugs for the most part. Give us your plugs so people can find you on the interweb so we can see you there.
Yeah. You can check out my company Scally at myscally.com, and my book Go Where There's No Path comes out next Tuesday, August 3rd, and you can order a copy on Amazon or Barnes and Noble or Walmart, etc.
Wherever fine books are sold, go check it out. Scully. So, Christopher, it's wonderful to have you on the show. What motivated you on to write this book?
I think that, my journey, like growing up, and from growing up to winning a scholarship to go to college to starting a company while I was a student, I don't advise trying to go to school full time and run a company full time. And getting on Shark Tank and getting Scholar where it is today, it's really a story that I really wanted to tell. And I think that there are a lot of young people who come from non-traditional background, underserved communities, or just young, and they just don't know, and they just kind of don't have a path. They think that they have insurmountable odds, whether that be financial hardship. They're a person of color. They just they think they're too young to start something. They don't have the experience, and I think that I kind of wanted to show people that entire path, from my youth and how I overcame all these different verticals as a source of inspiration for a lot of people who just don't see a path in front of them, and really like being able to kind of create that path for yourself, and just really being able to set goals and believe in yourself, but more importantly, like really putting a lot of hustle into showing people with the right amount of hustle, grit, and faith and persistence and resilience, that they can achieve whatever they want to achieve. So it's really like, how can you be a source of inspiration for all those people looking to go to college, looking to like start a company, looking to make impact, or just looking to change the world. And that's something. And I felt that telling my story, it was a really good way to really help them.
That's awesome, man. I mean, this is the beautiful part about us telling our stories is
Right.
not only are we kind of self-serving ourselves a little bit, like, hey, here's my story, but it helps so many people because they see some of the cathartic journeys that we go on, some of the challenges, how we overcome it, and helps empower them. So give us an arcing overview of the book, if you would, please, of whatever else we haven't covered in it.
Right. So, I think that, I start with kind of like my story of youth, right?
Mhm.
I had I went I'm originally from Birmingham, Alabama, so I'm sure you don't meet that many people from there. I went to a man in high school, but we had a lot of struggles growing up. I'm first in my family to go to college.
Wow.
I didn't have like too much guidance. And then there was also financial hardship, right? And because you didn't have that guidance, I kind of had to figure it out. Kind of had to go. I had no path, right?
Hmm.
So what I said was like, I want to go to college. I set a goal, but you got to pay for college, and college is really really expensive. So I start with that part of like me winning over $1 million in scholarships out
Oh
of just
wow.
applying for hundreds of scholarships and not know what I was going to get. I just applied for all of them. Luckily I was a good student and all that stuff, so that helped. But then that's kind of the first part. Then the second part is really going through the process of like how I started Scholarly, how I built that, and going into it really how people think about being a young entrepreneur starting a social enterprise, right? How it was how the idea of Scholarly was really birthed out of me simply wanting to help more people than I physically could, because more people would come to me for help and all that stuff. So that was good.
Mhm.
And then it goes into one of the my some people call it my origin story, being on Shark Tank, right?
Mhm.
It was really that process and how that really took Scholarly to where it is now, and really kind of going into focusing on how you build a product and ultimately showing as a result of that resilience, as a result of overcoming poverty, going to a good school, going to, starting a company as a young entrepreneur while you're in school, not being able to have easy access to, not being able to easy access to funding, all those different things, how I overcame all that and how Scholarly is like a multi-million dollar business. We're profitable today and that journey, because again, a lot of people who are starting companies, especially in tech, they come from money, or they can, they want to raise a friend and family around. They can do that. I didn't have that option. I don't think a lot of people do. So I think that showing people that path, and so the book kind of has that arc of really
Mm.
showing from like youth to that. So it's not, and really showing you lessons along the way. It's not just like it's not a memoir. It's more like, hey, these different phases and these are the lessons that I learned, and these how you can apply them to your life.
That's awesome. How hard is it to grow up being the first one to go to college? Was your parents putting a lot of pressure on you? You know, you will be the first one to go to college, or was it your own self pressure?
Yeah. I think that, I kind of always been inherently ambitious. I think, I was like competitive. And I think, but I think one of the things that, really helped me was I read a lot of books. So even though I was in an environment where I didn't physically have role models, I read a lot of, I was inspired. I read Black Enterprise. I looked at Wall Street Journal. I was able to, through informed media and through books, really, I was able to really see a world outside of my world,
Mhm.
and that was inspiring. And I knew that college was the first step, because people think that when you're dealing with poverty, or you're in a not in a great environment, they think, oh, writing a check is really the answer. It's really, you have to physically get out of that environment. And I think and that was really college, right? That you I was able to go to Philadelphia with the Drexel, and that was really there. So I think that motivation, seeing what people achieve and seeing college as being that first step, was really important to me. And I just, in college, it wasn't just for me, like, okay, just getting a degree. It's the network I was able to build. I was suddenly exposed to new things. My roommate's dad was like a millionaire. My first semester in college, like, I'm like engaging with people who are wealthy, who are powerful. That I just didn't. That was just new to me, and I was able to immerse myself in that world, and really thrive, and so suddenly, and this is where I say, all these things I wasn't able to do. I wasn't a person. I wasn't able to be back in the environment where I came up. Now all those abilities are manifest, because I feel that something I talk about in the book is that a lot of people who come from like underserved communities or inner cities, whatever, you are talented. You're just not in the right environment where those talents can manifest or be nurtured. So I suddenly saw going to college was not just getting a degree, it not getting education. It gave me access to a network and the resources where my intelligence, persistence, and entrepreneurial abilities were able to manifest and be nurtured. And that's kind of how I ended up starting the company. So
Wow, that's freaking awesome. So, how
yeah.
soon after college or during college did you start the app?
I started working on it my junior year of
Mhm.
college, and then we did a soft launch, and then we did our big launch on Shark Tank. So
Oh wow.
I was we had some press, I think, in USA Today, and then a producer actually reached out to one of my professors, and saying, okay, we want to talk to this guy. He made the introduction, and yeah, and it was cool. We ended up talking. And at first, when they producer reached out, 'cause at the time, Shark Tank, you saw like e-commerce brands like Cookie, like they sold physical products. So I didn't
Mhm.
really think Shark Tank at that time was really tech focused. I think they're a little more so now. They have no, they have a little more tech companies on there. So I didn't take it too seriously, but I called the producer. He loved the story, and I was like, so what's next? He was like, well, you got to submit a submit audition video telling your story about the company. I did. The show, they liked it, and they were like, oh, guess what? They loved your video, and they want to get you to LA. And I was like, man, the rest is history. I mean,
Wow.
there's a whole part in the book about Shark Tank, that experience. It's a funny story that happened there. But yeah, it was, yeah, I started our big launch was really on Shark Tank, but it's funny, I filmed actually the year before, and I aired 8 months later,
Serious? Yeah.
yeah, TV production.
So
Yeah.
you're able to get the investors still, right, and move forward and stuff. And how many years have you guys been working on this now?
6 years.
Wow,
Yeah, six
that's
years.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
launched
awesome,
in two.
dude.
Yeah, launched public in 2015 on the
Wow.
show.
So, when you were in school, you were trying to come up. You're of course trying to serve yourself by getting scholarships and stuff, and other friends were coming to you going, "Hey, can you help me with this? Getting scholarships and stuff." Is that how that played out before the app?
Yeah, like you mean in terms of like talking to the students to like understand the problem?
Yeah, I was like trying to figure out the pathway to why you developed the app, and
Okay.
and and
Yeah. So I think it was two things. One, when I got to college, I was really I won a lot of scholar. I won $1 million scholarship to go to college myself, and
that's
that
really
was
good.
and that was one thing. And I think that when I got to college, I started to get a lot of. I mean, it was a big story about me winning this money, and I started to just try to help a lot of other students who had similar backgrounds.
Mhm.
And one student would hear about it, me, and then another student hear about me. Then parents would keep inundating me. Some people try to pay me. It was kind of crazy. And basically, I couldn't help everyone. Physically I couldn't. I was a student. I was trying to do my own thing, and so I was really like, how can I find a way to help to help as many people as I can without at scale, basically, like in the whole concept of technology. And that was around the boom of the apps. Instagram just got acquired for $1 billion for Facebook. It was like the age of the apps. It's like that was like the gold rush, right? And but even at that time, when I made the first version of the app, I wasn't really looking to turn it into a business. So I found out that you got to have server costs and other things that are associated, paying developers and all that.
Wow.
What is the thing? And yeah, and so it was really started. The idea of Scholly, not necessarily just the business, really started as a concept of do I help how do I help as many how do I help more students find money for college? How can I put a, a productized Chris Gray, right?
Yeah.
In terms of doing that, and that was really the concept, and that's that was the origin story of how I really came up with the idea and why I did it. It was really just to help a lot of people.
And this is what I love about entrepreneurism and being an entrepreneur. A lot of times we're just trying to solve our own problems. Like hey, the widget doesn't do what I want it to do, and if somebody redesigned this thing, and oh yeah, that works much better. Hey, I bet some other people want this. That's the beauty of it, serving others and sharing that stuff. And so, according to the Amazon page, tell me if these numbers need updating. The app now has 4 million subscribers who won scholarships totaling more than
Yep.
$100
Yeah.
million dollars.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, so we have like, oh my God, like tons of scholarships in our app, and we facilitated and verified a lot of users who have won scholarships for our app. We now even have foundations, millionaires, wealthy people who come to us to start their own scholarships. We now
Wow.
have this cool Scholly has what we call Scholly Build, where
Oh,
we can pretty
wow.
much set up a scholarship for a celebrity, a foundation, a business within 2 weeks. And we
Oh,
have
wow.
we automate the legal process, the payouts, all of that.
Oh,
So
wow.
they're able to come. So we work with Lil Nas X. We'll be working with some other people. We work with Graduate Hotels. We work with Natty Light. We did $1 million student loan payoff with them every
Wow.
year. Basically, yeah. So anyone, like, even if you wanted to start your own scholarship, we can automate that. So
Sure.
yeah. So we're able to just facilitate all this cash and track it. And we have a really cool feature coming out this fall where it's going to be a common app for scholarships where you're going to be able to apply to upward of 1 million different scholarships. One application is going to be kind of like LinkedIn, where
Mhm.
you create your profile, you do easy apply. We're going to be able to do something like that. So that stuff is coming, and we're excited to have so much support from a lot of our partners to make, because the problem is there's so many opportunities out there for all these students, but if you got to sit and apply for 400 different applications, that's a lot. Where we kind of want to bring that all together and kind of create this common app, this universal application, for all these scholarships, as many as we can, to help streamline that process.
Mhm. This is pretty freaking awesome. I love it. You guys have your own pool that you guys are creating.
Yeah. Hmm.
So you're not just dependent upon some of these other different, forms of the stuff. You're creating your own pools. This is
Yeah.
beautiful. Um, and do you target a certain a certain income level or a certain is there a certain person, a certain
Yeah.
income level? Like my parents are poor, so I got a Pell Grant. Do you, is there a certain type of are you really helping? I guess what I'm trying to say is you're really helping people in the poverty level and helping them come up.
Yeah. So we have a lot of really good stories that we tell for people who are poor. But actually, there's a lot of scholarships. Actually, close to half of them are simply merit based. So
Hmm.
some don't even look at financial aid. So that's the
Oh,
bigger thing.
wow.
We like to convey the like the myth that scholarships. There are scholarships that are not just for people that are poor. It should be, and there's a lot more for people poor. But there's actually a lot. Nearly half the government database are just merit driven, merit based. So they don't actually consider income, because the problem is with these scholarships had to start to understand these foundations is that the government kind of have a very flawed system of determining whether you can afford college, right? Because the government may say, oh, both your parents make 100K, but they don't take into effect that they have 4 kids, two or three kids, and
I'll do it.
that, yeah, and other expense, exactly, that equation isn't that simple, right? So I think so I think that I think scholarships start to realize that, and really make sure that there are merit-based scholarships that can really help empower people, because there are some people who are below the poverty line, but there's some people who still need money for college to help reduce debt, who may have just a who may just have a have a just a different situation. Like, the thing is, like, having money, quote unquote, and I've learned that to come in, because there was a time where, like, I'm sure, like, you were like, when I thought like 100K was like, oh my God, like being in Birmingham, Alabama, like, oh, I care about 100, yeah, like that's amazing. And then now you realize, oh shit, like that's like, yeah, you gotta pay rent and these bills, so
Yeah.
it's very, very different.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And then you're
just
always
so
like,
seeing
where did
that
all
is
that
it.
money go? Like
Yeah.
at the end of the month, you're like, I had some money at one time, but now all the bills are paid and now there's new bills. Um, you know, I think this is brilliant because I ran a mortgage company for almost 20 years. And one of the things that was interesting to me, just to let people know, I didn't fulfill that Pell Grant. I deactivated it before I started college, and I'd started a business when I was 18, and I decided to go forward with that business. So once I got that entrepreneur drug, you know what that drug is like.
Yeah.
I just said I need to go see where this goes first, and I'm glad that I did. And I'm not saying there's anything bad about going to college, but uh, even then, I think back when I went to college, back when I was a kid, it was still fairly expensive, seemingly, but it wasn't as expensive as now. You talk in the book about the crisis of college affordability, but one of the things I was leading into was I owned a mortgage company for nearly 20 years, and I would see the applications from people, and a mortgage loan is basically a P&L and a balance sheet for a company as a person, if you will,
Yeah.
and so I would see people that they would be paying these extraordinary loans from college, and it was like indentured servitude. You could see that the way they were, some people had made really bad choices of what jobs they wanted to go into based upon their emotions, but their logic on what they had spent was, if they were, like, say, for instance, a psychologist or social person, they were going to be on this ride for like 20 years. I met people that were like pharmacists and lower level, doctors assistants, that they still were like 10 to 12 years in the hole. And after they paid out their loans, they're almost making minimum wage, yet they were like,
Yeah.
doctors and
Yep.
pharmacists. And I was like, holy crap. And this is horrible for people like yourself. I grew up in poverty. We had the welfare in the fridge. But this is horrible because, you finally rise from poverty. you get free of all this stuff, and then you're back in the hole again. So if you'd like to just talk about that in your book and how you address that.
Yeah, so I think that, I think that one of the things that, that we address is like really like helping people like understanding how, part of our start at Scholar to really help people understand there is a lot of money out there for them. There and and one of the things what you talked about, the whole student debt crisis, it is a thing. I know people, they computer science degrees making good money, but their student loans are $2,800 a month, like because they because they didn't even know any scholarships existed. They didn't know that certain opportunities were available. And recently we actually, to that point, what you just described, Scholly actually have a product called Scholly Payoff. You can see it on our
Mm.
website. We basically, so it's for people who graduated with student debt. So what we are able to do is that if you are a person that's having financial, we actually able to auto enroll you into a student loan plan that will actually match your income. So
Oh
what
wow.
happens is, yes. So a lot of the federal government actually has a lot of income-based repayment, different forms of them that you can auto enroll into. So basically, rather than you paying $2,600 a month, making 100K, they'll actually bring it down to match your income. And if you don't have a job, it'll be zero, right? And a lot of
Wow.
people don't know that, but of course,
Wow.
the government doesn't want you to know. Yeah, you're saying wow because yeah, you would think that people would know that, but they don't want you to know
Yeah.
that because they want people to pay the payments. But yeah, we're able to match your income, and we're able to kind of, and it's generally a 6 month. It's generally a long process, so we're able to kind of auto enroll you pretty quickly. So that's something we're proud of. So we
Yeah.
definitely evolve beyond scholarships, but I think helping people understand that everyone has definitely a unique situation, and what we try to help people understand is that yeah, like student loans are definitely like a Platysterian bargain. It's like, oh hey, like it's kind of like we're gonna like if you pay for college, then you graduate, then oh sorry, yeah, you're gonna be paying this off the rest of your life. So and interest incurs like every single day. So it's very, very really interesting. So so my advice to people then, and I talk about it kind of really in the book, is that when you graduate, everyone's not going to start a company, everyone's going to do that. So definitely, like financial literacy definitely is a thing, and I think that there are ways to really help reduce that debt because again, it's hard, and I and people like end up thinking that the education was their key to success, and then they find out, like you said, with the student loan debt and different bills in addition to supporting their family and all these other things they want to do, like it's kind of they still have that extra burden. So
Awesome. Awesome. That is great, man. I mean, that probably would help a lot of people beating COVID, because a lot of people lost their jobs.
yeah.
You tell a story in the book about your, let's see, I think I lost track of it. Your great grandmother, I think it was. And her, there it is. Great grandmother taught him to tap resources to make a way that there is no way. Can you tell us a little about her? She sounds awesome.
So she passed
I'm
actually
sorry.
a few years ago. So that's what. So I think that yeah, so she passed a few years ago. But I think that would she didn't go to college. That she did the best she could, and I think that like what I love about her is what she symbolized. Like, despite all those things, despite she was born 1929, the same, so that the world was very different, especially with people of color back then. So like it wasn't like insurmountable. What we consider insurmountable barriers today, it pales into comparison to what she experienced an insurmountable barrier. Like literally, it wasn't like okay, at least I pride myself in saying, hey, I had the option to go to college. I had the option to do certain things that she didn't. So I think kind of being able to have a house, like take care of all your children, your grandkids, being able to and having like this endless work ethic. She just never stopped working. I don't know how she like that kind of work ethic came from, just like to never stop, whether it's like cooking, whether going to work, trying to make money, like and taking care of all these different people. Like that ethic was just endless. Like, no one can ever call Thelma Gray lazy. So
Probably
it
wouldn't
was
want to
very
either. She'd
yeah,
probably go
yeah,
after him with the roller.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think yeah, amongst other things. But
My grandmother would. She'd,
yeah,
she'd chase
so
you around the house with the.
yeah, so I think that endless work ethic, that ability to make a way where there's no way, to make sure food is on the table, no matter how little it is, to make sure that you can take care. I mean, to make sure that you took your circumstances and made the best out of what you could. I think that symbolism, I think that work ethic, that persistence is actually it's I think really what she embodied, and I hold that with me today. And actually, she's the only person in my family that has my brown hair and my
Mhm.
my skin complexion. So that was also really interesting as well. And and I also dedicated my book was partly dedicated to her as well.
That's awesome. Did you get to see your success then?
Yeah, so it was really I'm not laughing because it's I'm trying not to like get
Sure.
emotional, but I think yeah, she did. That she all like up to Shark, because Shark Tank was 2015, so they saw all of that.
Cool.
What was really interesting actually, the 3 months after, I think 3 months after she died, was that she you I like Oprah was I met Oprah
Oh, wow.
literally like I was introduced to Oprah like sitting on her rug. Like sitting on her rug, she's always on the big screen TV. I used to hate it because I used to want to watch cartoons, right? So and I was like 16, like we were like after school, like she's turning on Oprah right before Dragon Ball Z is coming on, or like something else, or like some else, some anime or whatever. And so I didn't really like it, but that was my big introduction to Oprah. And she loved Oprah, like she loved it. She just loved Oprah. That was her obsession. So actually, a few months after she died, I actually was honored as one of Oprah's Super Soul 100. It was kind of
Oh,
her
wow.
list of favorite people. So I flew out to LA and I met Oprah. I took a
That
picture
is
with Oprah,
awesome, dude.
and we met. And we're honored on her website and everything. And I was there in the same table with Zendaya, like Sophia Bush, like Jesse Williams, Shonda Rhimes. I mean, everybody was there. It was really
Wow.
like it was a very good group. And I met Oprah, and I just felt that was a full circle moment, right? A very sad year, but I just think on a spiritual level, that happening that year
Mhm.
was just like, how does that happen, right? Like it was felt like that's like a manifestation, a full circle moment of really, like something that she really valued, something that I was introduced to her. And I honestly wish she would have like saw it, because I probably could have. She probably couldn't FaceTime. I probably would have found a way to like to call Oprah. Like,
Mhm.
while my phone said, can you just talk to my grandma or something like that?
That would have
My
been
great grandma,
awesome.
yeah, it'd been great. But but I think that I'm sure she's smart. I'm sure in heaven she's really
There you go.
she's excited. I mean yeah. I mean I always look at it this way. I think that coming from these sort of environments, it's a weird journey, but I understand. And I think you find solace that anybody, whether your ancestor, whether they died before they seen your ancestors, that you are their happiness, you are their legacy, and your success is really is like, your success is the best way you can honor them, because you proved that they raised you right. They and that and that all their efforts to take care of you were really doing the best they can was really worth it.
Yeah, and she probably always knew you were gonna be successful. I
Yeah.
know some great grandmas like that.
But
And
yeah, well, she always told she's right. So I didn't like doing like hard labor. I didn't like cutting grass or anything like that. But she always said, "Baby, she said you better be good. You book smart," because she said, but I didn't want to do like I hated like hard art, and I had she still made me do it. But but it was yeah, but luckily I am book smart. She said, "Baby, you good. You're book smart." She said you ain't gonna be able you got to hire somebody to do everything. She's not gonna do it. So yeah, so I'm book smart.
well,
I
that's
was able
good.
to do
That's good that she
that.
inspired you and led you
Right.
and had a vision for
Yeah.
you to become something better. Another thing you talk about in the book is how to run a multi-million-dollar company and using hood wisdom with top business school education. Tell us a little bit about what that's like. And this is probably really important for people to learn too that want to run startups and
Yeah.
businesses.
Yeah. I think that there's a level. I think that something I've been able to see. I mean, Scally, I mean, like we made our first, I think first million when I was like 24. So just
Wow.
imagine running a company. When we got our first, and this is a shark, we got an investment from Steve Cates, founder of AOL. We got an investment from Kevin Plank, CEO of Under Armour. So just that kind of pressure and being in that space was cool. But the thing is, I think that something I noticed that was a difference between me and a lot of my peers who are raising money in tech, and starting companies, is that there's a level of persistence and grit and resilience of like that is necessary running a company that I had more of than I think some they did because they had more privileged background. So
Mhm.
when their company didn't take off like immediately and they didn't raise $10 million or get 20 million revenue in less than 6 months like Facebook or something like that, they quit
Yeah.
because they didn't have that persistence. And I think Scala anytime like we're up and up, we're in this hyper growth mode right now, but there were downs and we have those ups and downs and you keep persistent. So I think that tenacity of going through so much when you're younger, like being able to overcome that, it really developed those muscles, that resilience, that grit, that really carried over to entrepreneurship because entrepreneurship is a journey, and it's like it's a high level of risk, but it's a journey that's like people that a lot of people want it to be like this kind of like hockey stick curve, but it's really like this. It's like it's a zigzag. Then it's a big payoff at the end, right? Like
Yeah.
if you look at Jeff Bezos, he's the richest man in the world. Like Amazon was started at a bookstore and
Yeah.
in his garage, whatever it was, and look where he is now. Elon Musk, like people told him Tesla was crazy, like for years and
Yeah.
years and years, and look what happened. So I think that it is a journey, but it's the payoff is always at the end.
Yeah.
But that's good, and I think that when I tell people. I love being a young entrepreneur, but sometimes I hate it because I think that you're learning how to run a company and run a company at the same time. So you're learning in real time. I have executives and stuff like that who are obviously much older than me. So it's a lot. It's a lot of people manage. It's a lot, but I do think that I do think that it is grateful, but I think that the days just get crazy, and I think that I just tell like young entrepreneurs or just entrepreneurs in general, the entrepreneurship is a grind, it's a journey. Please don't just read TechCrunch and just see all these exits. This company sold this one this much or that, and that's the end game. Or you want some sort of liquidity event. However, like it's a journey to get there, and sometimes when a lot of people are driven by the media, their perception of success comes through the media, they tend
Mhm.
not to understand that the media does not necessarily reflect reality,
Mhm.
or what happened behind the scenes before that person got there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a challenge. It's just I started my first company when I was 18, and it's a hell of a road. And looking back at 53 now, and all the companies that I owned and all the stuff I did, I mean, it's extraordinary. I mean, there's so many of them. I've been writing my book and about some of them, and like half of my stories are forgotten. I'll be telling somebody something. I'll be like, oh yeah, hey, we need to put that one story in the book. Like that's happened like 50 times now. And
Hmm.
the journey is just amazing that you go on. There's nothing like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, it's rewarding, but you learn so much, and that's why a lot of
Mhm.
times people say your second company is always like the best one, or second or third, because you learn so much that first ride. You learn so much about
Yeah.
yourself. You learn how the mechanics of running a company, who to hire, wrong hires. That experience, it just helps mitigate so many mistakes that you would have
Yeah.
made the second time, and yeah, it's just good. But it's a lot of journeys, and I look forward to just at some point Sally's gonna exit, and I look forward to being able to do some other things too.
Yeah. And in the case of Jeff Bezos, the payoff is you get to fly into space on a giant phallic symbol rocket.
Yeah.
Let's see. Your book begins with a quote from The Dark Knight Rises. Tell us about how Batman influenced you as a child. That's a really interesting story, I think.
So Batman as much is not as like Bruce Wayne. So like I was fascinated by entrepreneurship when I was young,
Mm.
and my one of my first introduction was this billionaire Bruce Wayne on TV. It was, Batman used to come on Cartoon Network. It was like it was like one of the first older ones, and I was always fascinated by this person, even though he's from a wealthy family and all that. But I was really fascinated about this concept of like this ordinary person using what he had, like technology and the resources he had to be able to, and didn't have superpowers or anything. Which I accept, like which like first like a Superman who was just born like being able to be faster than a speeding bullet, like having to go through something and also go through something and build something, like, and build his own version of yourself, your own superhero, to be able to help people. I think was really compelling and relatable in a symbolic way. And also just like Bruce Wayne, he was really cool. Like he was
Yeah.
cool, like doing the like especially in the movies and stuff like that. But even as a child, the cartoon was really influential for me. It was really fun. But I saw that. I like that. I like the idea of, and honestly, like that's kind of my goal. So my end game, like it is to make an impact. And it is to like I want to be somebody that accumulates wealth to be and
Mhm.
use my experiences to impact others. And like while fictional Bruce Wayne, he obviously inherited money. That was a piece of it. But again, I think that being a person that's able to be in a position of power and have wealth and being able to leverage that wealth to help other people, I think is something I really aspired. And also you can have the cool stuff too, but you can also but being able to help people and leveraging that, I think is something really important. And I think that's what Batman represents. It's like is leveraging power, access, and resources for good. And then you're also kind of the billionaire on the side, which is the cool, useful part of it. And I think that's something that was very symbolic for me. Very cool for me. It was very cool for me as a kid, but growing up, especially as it started to manifest into the Christian Bale movies and all this other stuff. I think it really as an adult it became much more symbolic.
So I was going to put you on the spot and say, is Christian Bale the best Batman in your opinion?
So far, yeah. I mean, I think that
There
I
you
mean,
go.
I watched all of that movies. I mean, I don't want to, I don't because I don't know just
Judges,
watch it, but yeah,
do we have the answer on that? That is correct, according to our
yeah,
judges. So
yeah. Christian Bale, he's great.
he's an exceptional actor. I don't know about the new guy. I don't know, but
Oh,
definitely
yeah,
Christian Bale.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't want to see
I
Batman
don't.
turned into what was that vampire thing, the Twilight series? I was like, what?
Yeah. That's the Twilight guy is doing Robert Pattinson. He's doing. I mean, I think they keep switching the characters because now Ben
Yeah.
Affleck is now he's gonna. He said he
Oh,
wasn't gonna
really?
be Batman anymore, and then now he is gonna be Batman again.
Oh,
So
oh,
I don't know. It sounds like a legal nightmare.
yeah,
It's like a lot of stuff happening.
yeah,
But yeah, there's a new one coming out, like with another character. So
yeah. I think it's
I saw.
Patterson or something like that. But
Yeah, that
hopefully he's
was
not running
interesting.
around with his shirt off like the like that
Yeah,
teen series.
yeah, but that was kind of the thing. I'm like, it's kind of a little, kind of skinnier frame. So
Yeah,
I wonder how he fits that, mold.
I don't
But
know.
we'll,
Yeah,
we'll see.
it's going to be all suit or something. I don't know. Anything else you want to touch on or share or tease out about the book before we go?
No, I really think if you are a young person, who's just who had a untraditional background, if you are a person trying to start a company, if you're a person trying to pay for college, if you're a parent who has a child who's either a young adult who's interested in entrepreneurship, who needs inspiration, who wants to really like learn lessons about hardship resistance, grit, and really, or you just want to instill ambition in them in some way, be inspired yourself, and really kind of see a playbook on on how to go from point from A to Z, right? How to start from zero and get to 100. I think that the book is for you. And I
Nice.
think that there are a lot of really important lessons that are really powerful, and I hope as many people can get a lot from it as possible.
And I hope so too, Christopher. It's the stories
Awesome.
like this where people rise from
Right.
poverty and the odds are stacked against them. You have to fight for every inch you possibly can. I
Right.
kind of went through not a similar thing, but I people there always was somebody that would get in our way. And maybe that plays into some of the stuff you talked about from the hood, where sometimes you got to get a little street level with some people
Yeah.
to get where you go. But it's a fight, it's a journey,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that you've shared your story so that you can lift other people up. Give us your
Mhm.
plug so that people can find you on the interwebs, if you would, please.
Yeah, my Instagram is CJ Gray,
Mhm.
CJGRAY 91. That's my Instagram. And yeah, and go to myscholarly.com to learn more about Scholarly. And you can get the book Go Where There Is No Path on Amazon. Pre-order it today, or get it on August 3rd when it comes out.
There you go. Get it now. Order it now, guys.
Actually,
Pre-order
yeah.
it now. You want to pre-order it now so that he gets all these great sales on the day. As you always want that thing going on.
Yeah.
Be the first in your book club to be able to read this book. Give it away to all your
Right.
friends, relatives, all that good stuff. Thank you very much, Christopher, for being on the show and
Awesome.
sharing your inspirational story and just awesome sauce. I love great stories like this. I love people who not only lift themselves up but also help lift up others because
Right.
someone told me writing this book that there's somebody out there just waiting for this book to be published, and it will help them and save them. So I'm looking forward to, hopefully your book's going to come out and lift some people up and make some difference in lives. So that should
Awesome.
be awesome. Thank you.
Awesome.
Um,
Thank you.
to my audience, go to youtube.com/Chris Voss, hit that bell notification button, go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, see our groups on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all those different places. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other, and we'll see you guys next time.